Hello, I'm going to share a new story about Moose and Mouse when they came to Stratford-upon-Avon. Moose and Mouse had been in Stratford for a few days. They had seen beautiful gardens and the house where Shakespeare was born. Mouse began to understand what theatres actually did after looking at an exhibition of photographs. "Can we go inside the theatre?" she asked. "Not just pictures?" "I hope so," said Moose in his deep voice. "We have to plan carefully and not draw attention to ourselves." It was surprising how much they had seen in Stratford by keeping to the shadows, sheltering amongst the trees on the banks of the River Avon, and sometimes waiting behind large gates until they opened. Always they moved slowly and silently, which proved very difficult for Mouse, who usually ran hither and thither, always curious and often squealing with delight. They were standing by the trees near the river and looking across towards the smaller theatre, which is called the Other Place. The lights were on outside, shining on the colourful posters, so something must have happened. Suddenly there was a burst of noise. The doors opened and a crowd of people came out, chattering and talking. Moose said quietly, "That means it is the end of the play and everyone is going home." "You mean tomorrow? We might be there ourselves?" said Mouse excitedly. "Maybe," said Moose cautiously. "I hope so, but we have to do several things first. And first of all, we need some rest." And he walked along the river bank and reached a cluster of trees near the Holy Trinity Church. The next morning, Moose woke up early and went to the river to have a drink of water. And Mouse opened her eyes and felt like washing her fur. "Now," said Moose, "today there will be a lot of watching and waiting." They walked past some beautiful swans sailing on the river, and they went along the river bank till they arrived at their space. And Moose was especially interested in two very large vans parked at the side of the theatre. Written on the sides of the vans was, "Theatre scenery, fragile." "Wait till I say go," whispered Moose. "This is going to be very tricky." They watched as several people appeared who opened the back doors of the van, and a man dressed all in black seemed to be giving them some orders. "Follow me, side door, straight into the theatre," he said. They unloaded some large pieces of wood, painted rather like pine trees. "Pine trees," said Mouse, "just like home." "Shh," said Moose. "Follow the trees." Moose crossed the road and cleverly went between several lots of scenery and walked with them into the theatre. So far, so good. They were in the theatre space, and there was a lot of noise and rushing around, and people running up and down ladders, fixing lights, and others pushing the scenery into space where the actors would perform. For once, Mouse was silent as she watched everything in wonder. Moose made sure they stayed well out of the way behind a large piece of scenery amongst the pine trees. "Who is that man in black?" whispered Mouse. "Oh, he's in charge of everything behind the scenes. He's very important," said Moose. Time rushed by as actors practiced their scenes, lights were adjusted, scenery was pushed this way and that, and the man in the bright pink shirt gave instructions of what would be just lovely, darling. It was time for the play. All the seats were full, and everything went dark. The stage lights slowly went up as the music played. Moose and Mouse suddenly realized they were on the stage, in the play. You could see Moose's head amongst the pine trees, and Mouse watched everything from her usual place between Moose's antlers. It was getting towards the end, and Mouse became very excited. "This is my bit," she whispered to Moose, as she scuttled across the stage, gazing up at Puck, all in green, as he said, "And not a mouse shall disturb this hallowed house." And at that point, Puck saw Mouse and leapt into the air with a little scream as he finished his lines. It was the end of the play, and everybody was clapping, and the man in the black print shirt looked rather angry and was looking for the man in black to ask what on earth was this creature doing in his play. Someone in the audience stopped him and said, "What a brilliant idea! A Midsummer Night's Dream in the pine forest, complete with a moose." "You think so?" said the bewildered man in the bright pink shirt. Meanwhile, the man in black had seen the expression on the man in the bright pink shirt's face and went to find Moose and Mouse. "Right, you two. Follow me." And he led them through the side door, past the huge vans. "Take the ferry across the river now. Go." Moose and Mouse dismounted from the boat and walked away slowly through the willow trees. Back at the theatre, the man in black awaited a telling off from the man in the bright pink shirt. But he said, "Great idea, that. We'll keep it in." The man in black realised that the props department now had to make a moose for the next performance. "We'll sort it," he said to himself, as usual, as he walked back to his office to speak with the props department. He stopped just inside his door, and there on his desk was his favourite, a chocolate orange.